to remove and replace a garbage disposal. If you've got a garbage disposal that's jammed up and maybe you can't get it, you've seen me do the videos. I'll literally take a plunger, stick it in the top, and stir it like a witch's brew. If you can't get one to unjam and you don't have a little offset Allen wrench for the bottom, you can try a couple of different things. First, get a different Allen wrench. What I like about these is I can actually get it in here, and with this I've got leverage. So if I'm not able to get it unjammed with the broomstick or with the little Allen wrench, I can take this in here and hold it and maybe even tap it with a hammer lightly. All I'm trying to do is get the blades to turn whatever's got it jammed up, unjammed. Now, sometimes these things really need to be cleaned out. And I've done this before on mine at home because it gets to smelling so funky that just spraying water down in there isn't enough. I've actually taken one out to clean it, or if I needed to, taken one out to replace it. Now, a lot of times, if the top half of the garbage disposal looks good and you don't have any problem, you may say, look, I'm just gonna swap out the body of it. It's not very hard to do. First of all, you're gonna unplug it and take apart the piping, and that's what I'm gonna show you how to do right now. Now remember, this P-trap is gonna have water in it. So you're gonna wanna put a bucket or something underneath it, and then you're literally just gonna undo the nuts. Now what I like to do is just undo them a little bit. Once you get them loose enough, water will start running out. So you can have a pan, you can have a bucket, you can have anything underneath it. You're trying to get the water out of the drain arm and out of the piping here. Once it stops, go ahead and loosen up your nuts. Now remember, this is gonna be secured behind it. But loosen up your nuts and get everything out. Now if this is still in the wall behind it, you're of course gonna loosen this nut, and you're still gonna have the pipe there. If you've got a clog in here, you think you need to take it apart, take it out of the back and clean everything out. Now this is a good thing to do if your sink is maybe draining slowly, but everything's still going down. You wanna take apart your piping down in here, clean it all out, put it back together. Now remember, don't just stick it in the bucket, rinse it off and then pour it back in here. You've got your drain taken apart. Take it out back where you can hose it out, rinse it out, wipe it out, run a brush through it, do whatever you need to do. But let's get all the piping loose first, then we're gonna pull the garbage disposal. You wanna remember where everything goes. One thing that my father used to do would be take a picture, or back then when he didn't have a camera, he would draw it. That way he knew where every piece went, what direction it was turned, and sometimes he'd even put pencil marks to line them up, just to make sure they were turned the right way. Now, I don't think that you're gonna need to do anything like that. It's really not that complicated, but taking a picture of it with your cell phone may help you out if you get in a bind. Okay, so this is all the piping that was under there. And this is actually what it looked like while it was under the sink. And I'm just showing you so you see. This is your P-trap coming out, this is where your garbage disposal went in, and this is the top where your basket strainer is over on the other side. So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm gonna show you how to pull the garbage disposal. And if you hang around to the end, I'm gonna show you one little tip and trick that might help you not have to replace a garbage disposal. All you need to pull a garbage disposal is an adjustable pair of pliers, or maybe even just a screwdriver. You've got a ring right here, and I like to set my pliers to where they'll grab onto it really smooth. Now I'm gonna set it over here on the back. Actually, I'll set it right over here where you can see it from this camera. What you're trying to do is you just wanna turn it and unlock that locking ring. Now, I'll show it to you in a second, but this locking ring turns and locks right here on this flange that's attached to the sink. Once you've got it loose, turn it and drop it down. Now, as you can see, we've got the entire garbage disposal detached, and we can get in here if we need to clean it out. When it comes to cleaning it out, you want to remove the rubber gasket in the top. What I do is just reach down, get under it, and pull it off. Set it aside. Now, be careful at the bottom of this. This will get nasty, funky, and grimy. And if you cannot get it off from above, which on these type you can't, you gotta pull it out of here. Now, if you're still jammed, you need to look down in here, maybe shine a light down in here. You've got the blades that rotate around, and then the grinding edges are on the side. A lot of times you'll get a little screw, a key, a coin. I've seen rags in here. There's so many different things I've seen down inside of a garbage disposal. It's kind of crazy. Now, if you've got a new garbage disposal, it may not come with the power cord. So you want to make sure that you pull this cover off, pull the plug out and the retainer clip. You want to make sure that your cord is not just stuck down in that hole where over years of being kicked on and off, it could pull and possibly short it out. So if you've got a new garbage disposal, if it doesn't have a cord, you can take this one off and reuse it. Now, when you're ready to put this back together, take your rubber gasket, put it back in there. And this is great because this helps keep stuff from flying out when you're using the garbage disposal. If yours is completely wore out, you can actually just replace this piece, and that'd be a good reason to take this off and put it back on. So now that you're there, also look at your drain. Do you want the drain that comes straight out the side or the one that 90s down? I like the one that 90s down because I think when they come straight out and go into a T, that can tend to get clogged because that water may not push all the food out. So I'm gonna get it lined up right where I wanna get it, and we're gonna rotate this retainer ring right around to where it locks in. Now remember I told you earlier about the bottom. Dead center is where the Allen wrench will go in, where you can actually rotate this. Now like I said, you may need to take a hammer and tap on it just to get it to free up. You don't wanna hit it too hard because you don't wanna break your wrench, you don't wanna break anything in there, but you wanna tap it enough that if there is something that's got it jammed up, like I said, a coin, a screw, anything at all, I found all kinds of things in here, but when you get it undone, then you know you're good. So putting this back on, literally what I like to do is get everything lined up, and you've got teeth on here. What you're gonna do, you wanna make sure that these teeth line up in the opening because that's what's gonna slide up this flange and lock it in place. You also wanna make sure that you've got it turned towards the other sink. If you're replacing one, you wanna put it in the exact same orientation that it came out of because that's what your pipes are cut to fit. So you wanna make sure everything's good right here. And another little trick, if you've got a garbage disposal, there's a knockout in here. As you can see, mine is still in here. We have not hooked this up with a garbage disposal. But if I was putting a garbage disposal in, I would take a screwdriver, put it in here, take a hammer, tap that out, because that's where your drain's gonna tie in. And if you don't knock this knockout out, your dishwasher's not gonna drain very good. Now remember, I told you if you hang around to the end, I would show you a trick. If you've got a garbage disposal and you're flipping it off and on, it's not making any noise, try looking at this red reset button on the bottom. It'll be sticking out about a ½ inch. If it is sticking out, push it in and then try and turn it on again. If it was jammed earlier and maybe you got it unjammed, if that reset button's sticking out, it may not power back on. This is a nice little trick to know. Kick that reset button in, flip your switch and see if it spins. Now, if it's still jammed up, don't just try and turn it on all the time. That's not gonna help. You really need to get it unjammed. That way you can get it all running like it's supposed to. Once you get everything in and lined up right where you want it, all you're gonna do is twist it around. So get it in, lined up, twist around. This flange is on top, this one is on top, and that one's on top. Now I can get my adjustable pliers, or I can just take a screwdriver and stick in the slot, but I wanna get it lined up the direction that I want, and then twist it and lock it in place. And once it's there, I know I'm good. As for putting all the pipe back on, that's not very hard to do. You just wanna make sure that you put it on the exact same way that you took it off. Now once you get it all put back together, plug it in, turn on your switch, make sure everything works. One thing I recommend is running hot water for just a minute. Let your water get good and hot. What that's gonna do, it's gonna let any expansion and contraction that may happen here go ahead and happen, then come back and check your joints again. Double tighten them, did anything loosen up. Installing or replacing a garbage disposal really isn't that hard to do. It's something I think most people can do if they do it the right way. Anyway, if you've done this before, let me know, how hard was it? And if this video helped you learn something, do me a favor and leave me a comment down below and let others know. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the Expert Plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.